5 years ago, we met a Boise illustrator who felt the Gem State's strangest stories deserved a second look and a younger audience. That'd be parachuting beavers, a house full of pet bears, the ugliest car ever built. All of it true and all of it so Idaho. And somehow, well, he turned the state's hidden history into a colorful adventure for kids.
A while ago in Idaho.
If I were to create an Idaho history book for myself as maybe a 4th, 5th grader, what would that be like? The mantra being that if it's not weird or strange, then it doesn't really make it in the book.
Explore the state's interesting and sometimes strange history.
My name is Amber Byerly. I'm the historian and writer.
My name is Kelly Knopp, and I am the creator and illustrator of A While Ago in Idaho.
In 1986.
I found it really fun to pair historic stories with artwork.
Hello, my name is Belmont Beaver.
So I created this beaver character. His name is Belmont Beaver.
What other sources of energy?
I know when I first saw the first rendering of Belmont, I was like, yep, this is the guy.
Arco became
He basically becomes your tour guide.
electrified with atomic power.
He shows you the location where the historic fact originated from.
White sturgeon on the Snake River near Weezer.
And then he explains more about it.
It weighed 1,500 pounds.
Of course, I love sharing Idaho history.
In 1975.
And so really, I think we've created a book in which we're not only making history accessible, but really creating a sense of place.
Excellent horsemen.
So that they can go out and really understand where they're from, or if they've just moved here, learn a little bit more about their community.
The theropods.
The dinosaur bones that were found, or evidence of dinosaurs in Idaho, is pretty interesting, all the way
At least 50 people cited a monster.
up to the myth of Charlie and Payette Lake.
A beaver named Geronimo was.
And when you read the book and find out what this beaver named Geronimo actually did, it's pretty exciting and terrifying.
The Gem State.
This gives people the opportunity to maybe drive around, take a tour throughout Idaho, learn and take that knowledge with you and go to the place that it happened.
At the City of Rocks.
And I think this book really is the book that I would have wanted to learn more about history and inspire me to go out and find out more.
Keep exploring the great state of Idaho.
Well, you can still do that, except that book has now grown up a bit. It talks. Belmont has a voice. And it also quizzes you, even lets you color a beaver on skis. Hunter Funk looked at how that illustrator is turning the page once again, this time from paper to pixels.
Why don't we try this one, okay?
Let's learn about Idaho's not-so-lame history.
It's not a video game.
Here, do you want to press this button?
And it's not exactly homework either.
Oh, so it looks like on this part we can color. Do you want to color?
But hand a kid an iPad.
Yeah.
With the talking beaver.
Tag along with me.
Suddenly,
Belmont Beaver.
Idaho history might not seem so boring anymore.
As we explore the side of Idaho's history that is fun, exciting, and weird.
This is the new A While Ago in Idaho
so you
app.
can scroll and find what you think is the coolest fact that you didn't
It's
know.
a digital version of the children's book series that this man,
Kelly Knopp.
who wears many hats.
I have too many titles. I'm like, which one?
For this story, he's the writer and illustrator of A While Ago in Idaho. And ask him if he ever thought that his idea, 5 years later, would become an app.
No, not this far. It definitely was I'll do a book and see how it goes, and that seemed like it had enough attention, enough momentum to do 2, and then 3, and then the 4th combined book, and now the app. And I was at Art in the Park, and this guy named Charles Hansen came up to me and said, you know what, this would be really cool as an app. And I was kind of like, well, it'd be great if I knew someone that did apps. And he was like, I do. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I worked with him and this gal, Jessica Ramon, to compile everything and get it ready for digital. And then over the last year, we've developed this app. So it's the whole entire book. It's narrated by my friend Jody Sally, who has this really insane, perfect beaver voice for this character.
A while ago in Idaho. What do you want to play?
And then there's some coloring pages in there.
All right, let's color.
And also this interactive quiz where you can kind of place historical markers, landmarks, and facts throughout Idaho to kind of learn more about where this stuff exists in the state.
We took it to the kids at Innovate Academy in Eagle to test it out.
You are, hey, give yourself a high five. Woo-hoo! Nice
2 fifth
work.
graders and 2 first graders.
Look out below. So basically, the guys decided it was a good idea to drop beavers in boxes from a plane.
Ask what they liked.
Learning about Idaho.
Maybe like the beavers in the box flying from a plane.
Probably about the ugliest car that only made 97, I'm pretty sure of them.
Would you have bought one of those cars?
No.
Like, it's fun to have an app that you can, like, revisit what you've learned. Like, when you're learning Idaho history, the next year you might forget some of it. But if you can go back into this app, you can just read about it and then remember all the stuff that you learned. And I think that's really cool.
Like any new app, it will continue to evolve.
I can easily add to it without having to reprint a book. So I feel like depending on the success and the momentum of the app, like in a year or so, I'll be able to add like an expansion to it so people can just keep growing the book on the app.
And these kids, yeah, they already have ideas for those updates.
I wish they had more stuff instead of 3 things.
It could be interactive, so you can choose where you want to go. Like, there could be like a tiny steering wheel that you could control with your fingers. I think that'd be really cool because it might also like attract kids like my brother. He's 6. Like, he might like having more interactive things to do while also learning.
Both Kelly and the kids agree.
Do a rainbow beaver.
It doesn't just have to be for kids either.
I do think there's a sense of home and place when you really do understand what's happened on the ground you're walking on.
And there's a lot of things that a lot of people probably didn't know because they don't take the time to learn them. But this is a fun way for people to learn them.
And remember the words of Belmont Beaver, never stop exploring.
The book series A While Ago in Idaho is still in print, of course, but you can also find it on the App Store. And Brian, the next goal for Kelly is to pretty much work with teachers if he can, and then maybe start curriculum so they can learn these strange facts in Idaho.
That's pretty cool. Also sounds like he has some other work to do to upgrade this app a little bit and put some new components into it via those kids.
Yeah, the kids had a lot of ideas.
A lot of ideas. Okay, so it took you 11 seconds to get those answers correct?
I wasn't rushing. Yeah.
Okay, good job.
Thank you.
Good job. We'll be back.